Big news shaking the crypto world. Ripple is reportedly eyeing Circle, the issuer of USDC, with an eye-popping offer of $4.00 to $5 billion 0 cents. That's a massive leap compared to their recent $1,250 million 0 cents acquisition of Hidden Road. If true, this move could reshape the stablecoin landscape in a big way, but here's where things get wild. Rumors started swirling that Ripple upped their bid to a staggering $20 billion 0 cents. Spoiler alert, it's complete nonsense. I even made a video yesterday diving into why this claim doesn't hold water. Think about it. How do you go from offering $4 0 cents to $5 billion 0 cents to suddenly quadrupling the number? Oh, it didn't work. Let's skip a reasonable counteroffer and just throw $20 billion 0 cents on the table. It's absurd, right? Long story short, the $20 billion 0 cents figure is pure fiction. We'll stick to the original numbers and keep an eye on this potential game-changing deal. That's not at all what happened. Interestingly, a developer from the XRP community, a former Goldman Sachs and Blackstone guy, shared a post that caught my attention. He's trying to clear up the confusion around this topic, and I think it's worth highlighting. The big question he's tackling: what would a fair offer for Circle look like? With his industry experience, he brings a fresh perspective to the table. That said, let me be upfront. I don't have a financial background, nor am I offering financial advice. Please don't make any investment decisions based on what I say or write. Always do your own research. Big news has been swirling around Ripple and Circle, and it's been a wild ride trying to separate fact from fiction. On April 30th, Cointelegraph reported Ripple's $4.00 $5 billion bid to acquire Circle was rejected, but then out of nowhere, a wild and fake story emerged claiming Ripple followed up with a $20 billion 0 cents offer. Yes, you read that right, $20 billion 0 cents. The source? A random website that no one seems to recognize. It looked like this fake headline caught fire, spreading like wildfire through the XRP community. Before long, it was everywhere, and I did my best to shut it down. Still, it got people talking. What would be a realistic offer? Attorney John Deaton shared an interesting perspective yesterday, suggesting a $10 billion 0 cents deal isn't out of the question. He laid out some compelling reasons why, and plenty of folks seem to agree. Could Ripple and Circle strike a deal in that ballpark? Only time will tell, but it certainly got people buzzing and speculating. It's really just a debate over Circle's valuation, what it's worth now versus where they believe they could land post-IPO. If the deal comes in around $10 billion, 0 cents, that's not far-fetched. Nothing about it seems out of bounds. The potential benefits are huge, and it's not just about profits. Ripple could position itself to dominate the space for decades, which makes the deal even more compelling. It's not just about current earnings, it's about the long game and what this move could mean for Ripple's future. For XRP holders, this could be a game changer. Imagine USDC integrating with the XRP ledger. There's really no reason it wouldn't. That really makes you think, does Ripple even need all USD at this point? Do they actually benefit from it? USDC seems to have the edge. By better, I mean it's more widely recognized, does essentially the same thing, and has solid backing. That's a tough combo to beat. Oh, and here's the kicker. Remember yesterday when I mentioned Cointelegraph's post? They were pushing this bizarre claim about a $20 billion 0 cents offer. Well, they must have realized how ridiculous it sounded because, poof, they deleted it from X. At least they cleaned up that mess. Here's an interesting update from Dom, co-founder of EZA, who's building on the XRP ledger. He's the guy I mentioned earlier in the video, a Wharton grad with experience at Goldman Sachs and Blackstone. Dom weighed in on the rumors swirling around Ripple supposedly acquiring Circle for $20 billion 0 cents. His take: anyone pushing this story doesn't understand the industry. And honestly, he's right. On platforms like X, it's crucial to vet your sources. If the claim comes from a random crypto outlet no one's ever heard of, that's your first red flag. I talked about this in yesterday's video. Don't take everything at face value. If you've been following the buzz about the Circle and Ripple deal on X, there's a lot of chatter and confusion, but here's some clarity from someone with experience at Goldman and Blackstone. Long story short, Ripple's final offer is likely to land between $6 billion 0 cents and $6 billion $500 million 0 cents. Why? Acquisitions usually come with a premium, which is an extra 20-30% added on top of the target's valuation to sweeten the deal. If Circle's IPO valuation is $5 billion 0 cents, Ripple would probably aim for a reasonable offer in that range. Do the math. $5 billion. $5 billion 0 cents, x 1.2 equals $6 billion 0 cents, or on the higher side, $5 billion 0 cents, x 1.3 gives you $6 billion 500 million 0 cents. So Ripple's next and likely final offer will sit somewhere between $6 billion 0 cents and $6 billion 500 million 0 cents. But what's an acquisition premium exactly? It's the bonus companies pay to convince a potential target to sell. This is why stock prices often spike when acquisition news drops. Deals like this are all about the art of the sweet spot. Grasping the basics of mergers and acquisitions helps cut through the noise on X, and honestly, I'm still holding out hope that a deal is brewing. Ripple might just pull this off. If anyone can make it happen, it's them. Why? Because Ripple isn't just well-funded. They've got deeper pockets than anyone else in the game and are laser focused on diversifying. They're aiming to become the enterprise backbone for all things crypto, and this move would align perfectly with that vision. One day we might wake up to groundbreaking news, and if that happens, wow, I'll bet it'll be huge for XRP. Even before knowing the details, it's hard not to imagine a positive impact. After all, XRP is already integrated across multiple chains. Why not solidify its dominance? Why wouldn't you drop that onto the XRP ledger? Seriously, why not? That part just doesn't add up to me. But then why would you need two coins? That's where things get interesting. There was this fascinating thread between me and Crypto Eddie that really got me thinking. I figured, why not share it with you all? Maybe you can dive into the comments below and let me know what you make of it. Look, I'm not claiming to have all the answers here. Honestly, it's just fun to hash this stuff out with the community. Anyway, here's what Crypto Eddie had to say. Ripple buying Circle isn't about the financials. It's about curbing competition, controlling USDC, dominating the stablecoin market, sidelining smaller rivals, and taking over Circle's payment network, which will be supercharged by an IPO. How much is that worth? A lot. Second offer incoming, in my opinion. I have to admit, I totally agree. That's some solid speculation right there. Ripple isn't the type to make an offer, get rejected, and just walk away. That's not their style. I really doubt that's the end of the story. So I wrote, it'd be surprising if this was all there is to it. Crypto Eddie replied, Circle, fueled by IPO cash and riding the USDC wave, could seize the moment and grab the biggest slice of the pie. I responded with a cheeky dangerous. She came back with those influencers spinning Ripple kumbaya stories while hyping competitors like R3, JP Morgan, Stellar, Circle, Swift. They spoon feed hopium to keep their audience hooked. It's clear they don't understand business. But here's the thing. There are no guarantees about what happens next. But from the moment the news broke, my gut told me this could be huge for XRP. Why wouldn't Ripple work to make XRP and the XRP ledger even stronger? That's the long game. So I responded, what's the point of RLUSD and USDC if Ripple ends up owning both? One's a global powerhouse and the other is Ripple coin. And yes, I mean that literally. This isn't to knock RLUSD. Ripple's just entering the game. Competing in this space isn't easy. Ripple has credibility. It's to earn respect. But let's be honest, if you own both and one's a brand new player that barely anyone knows, while the other is already dominating worldwide, do you really need two brands? Functionally, they do the same thing. Both are backed, cash or equivalents, same concept. So what's the point of launching a fresh brand? That was my big question. Then Crypto Eddie chimed in with a valid point. Most big brands have smaller sub-brands. It's a smart common strategy, especially in retail or apparel. And she's right, absolutely true. But in this case, I still wonder why now? Ripple Coin's brand is barely a thing at such an early stage. Sure, they could build the new one, but does the strategy make sense here? If Ripple owns Circle, USDC, what's the play here? Why launch both at this point? What's the real distinction? Both are backed by cash or equivalents. Both live on the XRP ledger, essentially tokens tied to assets Ripple controls. So why push for RLUSD growth? I'm genuinely curious. Maybe there's a reason, but I don't have all the answers. It's hard to make sense of this strategy. Sure, I get Ripple launching RLUSD initially, hedging bets, not knowing if they'd ever acquire USDC. But once they do, then what? What's the point of keeping both? I mean, sure, different brands and different price points make sense in fashion, but in this case, Crypto Deity's spot on here. Of course she is. But this feels a bit off, doesn't it? It's not even like we're talking about a different price point here. If it's a stable coin doing the same thing, what's the real difference? Honestly, I'm stumped. My gut says it doesn't add up, But hey, maybe there's something I'm missing. Always possible, right? But no matter how much I think about it, it still feels off to me. I keep asking myself, what's the angle here? Maybe one of you brilliant minds out there has a theory. If so, drop it in the comments. I genuinely love to hear it, because right now I'm at a loss, folks. Totally at a loss. Here's the thing though. If Ripple actually succeeds in acquiring Circle, how do they not shift that onto the XRP ledger? That seems inevitable, doesn't it? Why does this even matter? Simple. It secures the long-term future of XRP and the ledger itself. Every transaction would require XRP, reinforcing its role in the system. Plus, XRP is already a trusted and recognized brand. Seems like a no-brainer to me. The leap forward in adoption you'd achieve here compared to just building out RLUSD is nothing short of extraordinary. Seriously, it's a game changer. We're talking about significantly increasing the total value locked. TVL is a critical metric. If you look at the most successful coins out there, they all share one thing: massive total value locked. It's a true marker of adoption. And this would be exactly that, real adoption in action. Now, let me be clear. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't make decisions to buy or sell based on anything I say. Okay. That would be a really, really bad idea. Always do your own research.